Hello, welcome to PC Jack. Today, we're building a mini ITX home office PC. Why am I building this PC? Well, because old people need PCs too. So today we're putting together this nice little mini ITX home office setup. Now it's a fairly low powered system, but its basic purpose is for just general internet browsing and office work, very basic stuff like that. I'm building this for an older relative of mine, and you could have said, well, if they're just browsing the internet and doing basic home office work, why don't they just get a laptop? But they prefer to use a desktop, so I was happy to help out, and I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to build a PC. Shouldn't take us too long to put together, so let's crack on. Here we go. So as always, I like to start with the motherboard out first and get everything we can installed on there. So before we begin, this is the Asus Prime A320IK Mini ITX motherboard. It's a bit more on the dear side of A320 boards, but because it's Mini ITX, obviously we are going to be having to fork out a little more, just because they've had to squeeze some features into a smaller footprint. So I think we'll just make a start on CPU installation. So the CPU we've got for today is nothing too crazy. It's an Athlon 200GE. It's a dual-core, full-thread CPU. Like I said, for basic home office use, it's going to get the job done just fine. So we can get that dropped in, like so. There we go, that's in. Arm down. So we got our CPU installed now, that's ready to go. I say we move on to memory next. We've got these 2x4 gig sticks of Corsair Vengeance LPX memory. 8 gigs is going to be perfectly fine for what they're doing, so should be more than enough and they won't run out anytime soon. Line up the notch. Press in. First one down. Second one. Boom. That's our memory installed. So next, I think we'll pop our M.2 in. We've got a 250 gig WD Blue. Not going to need much space in this system. They're not really going to be storing many files, so just a single SSD so they're getting those decent read and writes and fast boot times. Get this slotted in, and then we need our tiny little M.2 screw. So, last thing left on the agenda for the motherboard out of the box is just going to be getting our cooler installed. Now, for our cooler, we're not going to need much for the Athlon 200GE, and it does come with this stock cooler, but I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I know the system isn't going to be in much of a load at any time, but I would still like something that's going to be a bit quieter than this. So I think we'll scrap this terrible stock cooler, and we'll go for the Wraith Stealth. It's nice and low profile, so it should fit in the case we've got, which I will show you very soon. And it should be a lot more quiet, and because the system isn't going to be doing anything particularly demanding, I should be able to tune the fan a bit to be nice and silent. So we've got the in-4 brackets off, ready for our Wraith Stealth. It just goes straight into the back plate, so we can just place this on here. And we've already got pre-applied thermal paste. Line that up, and then we'll start screwing. So that's the Wraith Stealth installed. Just got to plug this into our fan header, and then like that. We'll just tuck this cable down a bit so it's out of the way. There we go, so that's our motherboard completely ready. Now I am thinking I'm going to be wise and do a test boot, just so we don't waste any time when we're putting it in the case. So I'll get this set up as a test bed and I'll get back to you. Okay, so we've just got it all set up as a test bed for now, just to make sure it is actually booting. It's all connected up with the power supply, and let's give this a shot. Woohoo! And we've got a post. Yep, so we posted, so that's a really good sign. So we can now get this all set up in the case and finish this system off. So now that we've got our test boot done, we can move on to actually putting this all in the case and getting it finished off. But we're going for a fairly slim, compact case, which is the Silverstone ML08, and it comes in this nice little bag. So let's take a look what we got. Okay. So it's a bit larger for Mini ITX, but it's the fact that it's very slim, and that's what they wanted to go for. They wanted something that was nice and compact for their desk. Get this case ready, and we'll start putting everything else in. Okay, so I've just opened up the case. I quite like the layout of this one. It's quite nice and straightforward. So I'm thinking we're just going to get the motherboard in and just start connecting things up. I'll shield first. Click in. Another corner. 3 corners. Motherboard incoming. Okay, so that's our motherboard installed and ready to go. So this might seem strange, but we've actually gone for a Corsair SF450, and it's actually 8+ Platinum, which is obviously quite overkill for a home office PC, but to my credit, this was actually cheaper than the 8+ Gold version for some reason. I must have had a pretty good deal on it, so yeah, they're going to have a decent warranty on this and a very efficient power supply. Let's get installed. So we got our power supply installed now, so literally all that's left to do really is just to start getting everything plugged in. Maybe start with the smaller cables first and then we'll work on the power supply ones. We don't have much to plug in really, we've only got a 24 pin and 8 pin EPS power for the CPU. Should be good. So yeah, let's just start plugging things in and see how we get. Right, so I've got everything plugged in. I may have to mess around with the order of some of it. This USB 3 cable is especially tricky because it's so thick, so I may have to reroute that a little bit, but I'll get some cable management done and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, I think I've got this cable managed to the best I can for the moment. It seems to be packed down tight enough that we can fit the side panel on. This USB 3 cable is a total pain though, and I've managed to bring it down a little bit by grouping it with the motherboard 24 pin, but it's still a bit tall, but I'm hoping we should be okay. Let's do a side panel fit test and then I think we're ready to see if this is all working. It's a fit. Okay, so now I know this fits, I'm not going to put it back on yet. I'm just going to make sure everything's working, and then once it is, I think we're good to go. Okay, so we're all set up. I think we're ready to power it on. Let's go. So I think we're all done. All working fine. Pretty interesting case to work in. I haven't worked in one of these types of compact cases before. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to make a really good home office setup. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, then please feel free to like and subscribe for more videos on the way soon. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.